Day 82. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. But the FBI just made a move that changes everything. You know her daughter, Savannah Guthrie, the Today Show co-anchor, the woman millions of Americans wake up to every single morning. Her mother vanished from her Tucson home on February 15th. No trace, no witnesses, just gone. But investigators found something. A single hair in Nancy's bedroom. Now here's where this gets complicated. That hair has been sitting in a local Arizona lab since February. DNA Labs International. They've had it for almost 3 months, and they've produced exactly 0 results. So the FBI stepped in, they took the evidence, and they sent it to a lab in California. Not just any lab, Astrea Forensics, the same lab that brought down Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach Killer. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the FBI made this specific choice, and you'll know exactly what happens if this test fails. But here's what nobody's telling you. The FBI didn't choose Astrea because they're the best. They chose them because they're the only ones who can do what needs to be done. If you want to follow this case as it develops in real time, hit subscribe right now. We're tracking every single development. Because this isn't just about testing DNA. This is about testing DNA that shouldn't even exist. Evidence. The hair they found in Nancy Guthrie's bedroom doesn't have a root. That might not sound like a big deal to you, but in forensic science, it changes everything. When you pull out a hair and the bulb comes with it, that's called a rooted hair. Inside that bulb lives nuclear DNA. The kind you inherit from both your mother and father. The kind that creates a unique genetic fingerprint. The kind that solves cases. But when a hair falls out naturally, no root, no bulb, just the shaft. And that shaft only contains mitochondrial DNA, which you inherit solely from your mother, which means you share it with your siblings, your cousins, every single person on your maternal line. You can't identify someone with mitochondrial DNA alone. You can't run it through CODIS, the FBI's national database. You can't make an arrest based on it. For decades, forensic scientists believed rootless hair was useless. But in 2019, a scientist named Dr. Ed Green proved everyone wrong. He founded Astrea Forensics, and he developed a technique to extract SNP DNA from rootless hair. SNP stands for single nucleotide polymorphism. It's a type of nuclear DNA analysis, and it works even when the root is gone. Astrea has used this process to solve dozens of cold cases, but the most famous one, the Gilgo Beach murders, Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer. Investigators found 9 rootless hairs on the victims' bodies, on belts, on duct tape, inside the burlap sacks where he dumped them. Astrea analyzed every single one. They traced those hairs back to Heuermann's wife and daughter. That evidence convicted him. Now they have Nancy Guthrie's hair, one single strand. And if this works, they'll know who took her. But if Astrea is so good at this, why did it take 82 days for the FBI to send them the evidence? Key question. Let's walk through the timeline, because this is where things get disturbing. Nancy Guthrie disappeared on February 15th. Investigators processed her home immediately. They found the hair in her bedroom. They collected it. They logged it as evidence. All of this happened within the first 48 hours. But Sheriff Chris Nanos didn't send it to Astrea. He sent it to DNA Labs International, a local lab in Arizona. Here's what Cece Moore said about that decision. She's the chief genetic genealogist at Parabon Nanolabs, one of the foremost DNA experts in the country. I haven't seen successful cases coming out of that lab. Astrea has had one success after another with rootless hair. So why would Nanos choose a lab with no proven track record? Are 5 possibilities, and none of them are good. 1. He didn't know Astrea existed, which would mean he's incompetent. He didn't consult with federal experts. He didn't research best practices. He just picked a local lab and hoped for the best. 2. He knew about Astrea but didn't want to involve outsiders. Ego, territorial control, wanting credit for solving the case himself. 3. He didn't understand the evidence. He thought rootless hair was useless, so he didn't prioritize it. 4. He was protecting someone, deliberately stalling the investigation by sending evidence to a lab he knew would fail. 5. He wanted to control the narrative. If DNA Labs International never produced results, Nanos could keep saying the investigation was ongoing. No pressure, no accountability. Here's what we know for certain. Nanos is facing a vote of no confidence from his own deputies. He's under investigation for perjury related to a December deposition. He lied under oath about past disciplinary suspensions. His credibility is shattered. And the FBI stepped in. They took control of the evidence. They bypassed Nanos entirely. And they sent it directly to Astrea. Do you think Nanos should be removed from this case? Let me know in the comments. So now the evidence is finally at Astrea. Which brings us to the question everyone's asking. Whose hair is it? Suspect/truth. Sheriff Nanos confirmed something critical early in the investigation. He said investigators found stranger DNA in Nancy Guthrie's home. Stranger DNA. Not Nancy's, not her family's, not the housekeeper's, not known visitors. Pause. Someone who shouldn't have been there. And if that stranger DNA is this hair, then Astrea is currently building a genetic profile of Nancy's abductor. Here's how the process works. Astrea takes the rootless hair and attempts SNP extraction. It's incredibly difficult. The hair gets destroyed in the process. You only get one shot, and it can take weeks. If they succeed, they'll create a genetic profile. Not a full DNA sequence like you'd get from a rooted hair, but enough markers to run through genetic genealogy databases. GEDmatch, family tree DNA, public ancestry records. This is the same process that caught the Golden State Killer. The same process that solved the Annie Pham murder. A 6-year-old girl walking to kindergarten in California. Abducted, killed, dumped on a military base. Astrea used a single rootless hair to identify her killer. A neighbor she walked past every single day. If the DNA from Nancy's bedroom matches someone in those databases, investigators will build a family tree. They'll narrow it down, generation by generation, until they have a name. We're going to keep you updated the moment results come in. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But here's the terrifying part. Once Astrea tests that hair, it's gone. Destroyed. If the test fails, there's no second chance. This is the only shot they have. Do you think the DNA will lead to an arrest? Tell me below. But even if Astrea succeeds, there's one problem no lab can solve. Unresolved close. Astrea won't rush this. They can't. Accuracy matters more than speed. One mistake destroys the evidence forever. Savannah Guthrie has returned to work. You've seen her on the Today Show. Smiling, professional, holding it together. But Mother's Day is coming, and her mother is gone. Meanwhile, investigators are chasing leads in Mexico. Ransom notes claim Nancy was seen in Sonora. Alive at first. Then the notes changed. Now they say she's dead. But without DNA identification, there's no way to verify any of it. No way to know what's real and what's a distraction. Experts estimate 2 to 6 weeks for SNP results. If Astrea gets a usable profile, genetic genealogy could take days. Or months. We don't know. What we do know is this. Right now, in a lab in Santa Cruz, a single hair is being analyzed. And when those results come back, everything changes. Either we get a name, or we lose the only physical evidence connecting a stranger to Nancy Guthrie's bedroom. Hit the bell icon so you're notified the second we have results. And if you know anything about Nancy's disappearance, the FBI tip line is in the description below. What do you think happened to Nancy Guthrie? Share your theory respectfully in the comments. One hair, One lab, one last chance.